please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you can get notified of all the great content we have coming up. Be sure to follow me on Instagram as well. We have great content that we're putting out there weekly at Conway, Barnett. I'm going to jump right into this and talk about the way we speak. We have to take care of our self-talk, our inner talk. We have to take care of what we're saying to ourselves. Because what we say, it matters. Proverbs 18:21 tells us the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat of its fruit. We have the power of life and death. We can speak things forth, good or bad, positive or negative, life-given or life-taken. Proverbs 12:18 says, the word of the reckless pierces like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Words have the power to cut us, stab deep inside of us, or they have the power to heal us, to restore. So how much more could they cut us or they heal us when we're speaking our words to ourselves? We speak to ourselves more than anyone else does. So what are you saying to yourself? Are you negative, faithless, doubting, worrying? Are you cutting yourself with your own words on top of what the world is already saying about you? How we talk and our thoughts weigh heavily on the outcome of our life. What we believe. Belief is the compass on the roadmap of life. What you say is a great indicator of what you believe. What you believe is a great indicator of where you're going in life. I've been around successful people, and I've been around people who are on their way up, and I've been around poverty-minded people. They don't all talk the same. Successful people use a whole completely different verbiage. Happy people talk different than unhappy people. Problem solvers talk different than problem finders. You want to change your life? Start by speaking different. If you find yourself always saying negative things, change that. Start by becoming aware. You can change it. I know because I used to be a negative person. Used to be negative-minded, poverty-minded, a naysayer. Worst case scenario, I lived my life so negative every single day. As a result, I had faith for the negative things, and negative things did come true by the truckloads. You can absolutely have what you have faith for. But for every blessing God, there is a counter for it. You have control to believe good and or bad. So how do you change your self-talk? You change what you put in your mind. You renew your mind. That's how you change your self-talk. Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This scripture came to life for me, and I knew this was the only way I was going to change my life. So I went to war with my thoughts. The first thing I did is I started getting up every morning, and I would spend the first few minutes speaking out loud things I was thankful for. See, the attitude of gratitude is a direct link to happiness. I had to start by writing a list of things I was thankful for, and I made it a habit to make sure I went over that list before my feet even touched the floor. I consciously started looking for things to be thankful for. And when I started doing this, I noticed a few things. My life changed rather quickly. I was happier. Little things began to have more value to me. I was in the moment more. All of a sudden, everyone around me, they began to change. All of them changed at once. I thought God answered my prayer and changed everyone else. I had no idea me being thankful would change everyone else. It was such a concept. Say this to yourself. When I change, everything changes. When I change, everything changes. I thought I was an angry and impatient person. And when I started being thankful, I noticed my short fuse got really, really long. The second thing I did was I completely changed what I watched, what I read, and what I listened to. I used to love the news. I could watch it for hours. Man, those talking heads, they talk straight to my soul. And I would get so upset and so angry. I would just want to start a revolution. How dare the opposite side say or do what they did? Did they not know that they were just wrong? It's common sense they were wrong. I would want to call my friends up and discuss this. But my point of view was so heavily influenced by the news that I didn't really have my own point of view. I'd get on social media and I'd want to argue with people who didn't see it my way. And I noticed when I took one step, and all I did was walk up and I turned the TV off. I instantly, and I mean this when I say instantly, I started having a lot more peace in my life. I didn't hardly ever want to argue. I wasn't angry at the world. I started being okay with people having a different opinion than me. This, coupled with being thankful, I even started gaining friends. It was amazing. Again, I turned my TV off and everyone else changed. I used to read very dark poetry. I read books about politics and history. I was always down and gloomy and enraged, and I always had just one point of view, and it was negative. I found I agreed more with negative posts on social media that was normally aimed at someone else or at the cost of someone else. So I started making it a point to change what I read. I started reading the Bible and motivational books, books about goals, books about faith, books that fed my mind. I started getting on YouTube and I was listening to motivational speakers and sermons, and I did this for hours a day. Here's a little side note. I've never been one that actually desired position or titles. I know, it might be hard to believe, but I just not a thing for me. Never cared about being in management at work, never cared about being the boss. I never wanted to be a leader. I didn't want the responsibility, to be honest with you. I just wanted to go to work and come home. I was the perfect employee. My ambition from a scale of 1 to 10 was probably a 2. But when I changed what I was reading, I became very positive. I became goal-oriented and I became motivated. My employers started taking notice and I started getting management positions, raises, bonuses. I even started winning awards. Things like that never really mattered to me. And I'm not going to tell you that I didn't highly appreciate it when it happened, but it was never my goal. But because I started having the right mindset, people started seeing me as a leader and an influencer, and that came with rewards. I also changed the music I listened to. I really enjoy depressed music. It has a power to take me to places of nostalgia. Music gives me chills. I can go real deep with music. It would take me back to times that I just missed, and feelings that I felt in the past that I could never have back again. Those moments are gone. I don't need them. I would get depressed and lonely and wish I had someone to pet me so I could just sit and complain to. I realized that this was all due to the music I was listening to. See, I grew up in the age of CDs. I remember I had this large binder. This black binder had stickers all over it. I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the CDs in that binder. It was filled with punk music and heavy metal and rap music. It was many different underground albums that was just so hard to find. It was a collection I was extremely proud of. I remember I had every page, every little slot. Each page had 4 slots, and I had every slot just filled with the CD. It was albums that anyone would have wanted. When I first got saved, a lot of my Christian friends told me I needed to stop listening to that type of music. They said it was tied to things I didn't want into me. The problem I had with that was I didn't hear God tell me that. This was just some opinions of others. Besides, this binder was my baby. This was a collection of the ages. So one day I was cleaning, doing some spring cleaning in my room, and I had the music jamming, and I was just doing like I normally do. I was singing to the top of my lungs. And for the first time, my mind and my heart lined up and listened to the words. As I sung, it was like my heart was asking me, do you really want to speak this out loud? You don't even think this way. You definitely don't believe this way. So I took a second and I was like, cool. Well, I don't have to listen to this song. So I changed the CD. And the same thing happened to the next album. And I changed it again in the next album. And I realized the emotions and the words these artists were projecting are affecting my emotions and words. I was depressed and I had no reason to be. I felt such a strong desire to just throw that binder away. I also felt a strong desire to just shut up. This is mine. I started negotiating with myself, saying things like I should just, put the CD up in the closet and don't listen to it. Or maybe give it away. No sane person would throw this away. Not this collection. But after a few minutes, I thought about it. And I did throw it in the trash can and went back to cleaning. And then a few minutes after cleaning, I went back and pulled it out of the trash can. I didn't want to throw this thing away. It was important to me. And then I realized that this had a control over me, and I wasn't willing to give it that. So I broke every CD, painfully, might I add, and I threw them all away. Not long after that, I started walking in a freedom mentally that I never had before. I was not sad or depressed or a victim. The world didn't owe me anything, but I was put here to add to the world. My mind was starting to get really renewed. That scripture started becoming life to me. I really started having faith for things, and they really started coming to pass. My life was turning around. Everything was becoming new. People started noticing a real change in me. They really started noticing a change in me when I started doing this. The third thing I'm going to talk about was I changed the way I talked completely. I made a decision. Certain things were not going to come out of my mouth anymore. I literally eliminated words out of my vocabulary, and I started speaking what I wanted to happen. Romans 4:17 says, "Call forth those things that are not as though they are, or be not as though they are, or were not as though they are." So I started calling the things I wanted in my life. I started writing them down and saying them out loud. I started speaking the promises of God out loud. The words He spoke over me, I spoke them out loud. I called them into existence. But let me share a little tip with you. When you start doing this, people are going to look at you like you were weird, and that's okay. Just don't make it worse by correcting someone else that speaks negative. If they haven't caught this revelation yet, pray for them. Don't correct them. You have to begin to form your world by your words. Speak life and blessing. This is the way you truly begin to renew your mind. This is how you take control of your life. This is how you use the power of the tongue to shape your world into what you want it to be. You have that power. You can heal your world, or you can cut your world. You say to your day how it's going to go. You call forth the things that be not as though they are. Let your self-talk be the best talk you ever heard. You speak life and faith. You speak forth love. You speak forth your finances. You call those things. You're more than a conqueror, so conquer your mind. And when you conquer your mind, your words, that's whenever you'll be able to conquer your day.